Hi Stampers, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to another video with a new project. Today we're going to be making a little goodie bag, and this is actually made with one sheet of designer paper, and there's no cutting and no gluing. And I've also added this cute little tag. It's actually a combination of 3 tags glued together. And I made a punch art bumblebee to go with the bumblebee design in the background paper. So let's get started on a list of supplies we'll need today. You're going to need a scoring tool, and please disregard the mess on my scoring tool. I think I tried to wipe it with something that had bleach on it, and I ended up staining it with this white mess on it. You're going to need designer paper measuring 8.5 by 11, and I did not have a second sheet that had the bumblebees on it, so we're going to be using the flowers. This is from the English Garden designer paper, and we're still going to do the punch art bumblebee just so you'll know how to make one of those. And all the scoring measurements are here, but I'll go over them as I do them. For punches, you're going to need the wide oval punch, the large oval punch, the 3/4 inch circle punch, the washi tape or washi label punch. For inks, all we're going to need is the soft suede ink pad and the soft suede Stampin' Right marker. Let me move this aside so I can add more products. You're going to need the 2-way glue pen, stamping dimensionals, a 1/4 inch handheld punch, the bone folder, and dazzling diamonds. We're also going to need for cardstock, these are all scrap pieces, vellum, Hello Honey, soft suede, and whisper white. These are all scraps, and you're going to need 3 pieces measuring 2 inches by 3 3/4 inches of soft suede, Hello Honey, and Delightful Dijon. And lastly, you're going to need a piece of ribbon that measures about 18 inches long, and the one I'm using today is the 1-inch dotted lace trim you can find right here. Those come in the 5 new in colors. So let's get started on our project. I'm going to bring in my Simply Scored scoring tool, and I'm actually going to flip this over on the back side that I don't want to show just because it's going to be easier for you to see the scoring. So on the 11-inch side, which is your longer side, you're going to score at 3/4 inch, 4.5 inch, 6.5 inch, and 10.25 inches. You're going to turn your cardstock around, and you're going to score at 2 and 6.5. And that's all you're going to need for scoring. So let's put the scoring tool away. Now you're going to take your bone folder and fold on all the score lines. So there's the 2 on the 8.5 inch side, and then you should have 4 on the 11 inch side. So there's 2, 3, and 4. So as you see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on this side, you have the 2. Okay, now here comes the tricky part. I've done this side already just to show you what it's supposed to look like. Okay, when you fold it over, this is what it looks like. I'm going to show you how to do the other end because you need to do this for both ends. So you're going to fold your designer paper over. You're going to take the first score line right here, and you're going to bring it over so that it's even on the edge, and it's going to make a little triangle on the inside. And then all you need to do is press down with your bone folder. So again, there's my score line. I'm going to take this and bring it over so that it's even on the outside and press down. So now we have our two triangles on the inside on this end and also on this end. So now, as you can see, there's a little box forming on the inside. So what we need to do now is we're going to just fold this forward till the two flaps meet on the top. So there's your top and your bottom. Okay, you're going to measure out about 1.5 inches and just make a little mark there. Same thing on this end. So you're going to have two from each end, 2 marks at 1.5 inches. And then you're going to use your 1/4 inch handheld circle punch to add 2 holes where you made your marks. So now when you hold this together, as you can see, this one is sticking out a little bit. So all you need to do is push that in with your finger. And it's going to crease a little bit to stay inside. And we're going to thread the ribbon through. And that's what actually holds your little box closed. Like I said, there's no glue on this box, which is so neat. So I'm just going to tie a ribbon for now and leave it like that because we're going to be adding the tag. So this is what your little box looks like so far. So we'll set this aside. Now let's work on the little Punch Art Bumblebee. So we're going to bring in our pieces. And as you can see, I'll try to leave it right here so you can see it as I'm working on it. We're going to use the vellum and the large oval punch, and we're going to need 2 of those. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but my little wings have glitter on them, nice and shiny. So we're going to do that first so that we can allow time for it to dry and you can see how I finished the whole project. So this is where your 2-way glue pen comes in. You're going to add glue, and you're going to end up having to cut some of this off, so you don't need to do the whole thing, but do at least 3/4 of it. And I'm going to bring my dazzling diamonds in, and I'm just going to use a tweezer and see how that sticks to the oval. We'll do the next one. So now they're both done, so we're going to let these dry so we can finish up. The next step is going to be the Hello Honey with the wide oval punch. You need 1 of those. You're also going to need 1 with the soft suede. And the head of the bumblebee is the 3/4 inch circle punch, so we'll do 1 of those. And I do have little antenna on the top of the head there, and I'll show you how I did that. I used the large oval punch, and I just kind of snip half of it off and discard that. And you're going to place your punch over the hole you just punched, and just a little sliver of it is going to show. Make sure that one end has a little point to it. And this is all that you're cutting. You're going to need 2 of those. So again, we're going to do the second one. So there's 2 of the antenna. Now, if you'll notice, my bumblebee has little stripes on his body, and that's why we cut this piece. And we're going to cheat a little bit. Where's my glue? Make myself a little handle. So I'm going to put glue on this scrap piece. And I'm going to attach it to the end of this piece. You'll understand why here in a minute. We're going to bring our wide oval punch back in, and this is why I added this. We're going to use it as a handle to feed this through. We're going to go the wide area and cut off a snip at the top. We don't need that part. Then we're just going to do a small, probably about 1/8 of an inch. So there's your first stripe. And now we're going to remove a section about 1/4 of an inch. Your next stripe, 1/8 of an inch. And I'm laying down as I cut them so I'll know in which order these go. Remove another section. Discard. Another 1/8. And we'll do one more. Remove, and another 1/8. So, whoops. So we now have our 4 stripes that we're going to be gluing to our bumblebee. Now for the head, what I'm going to do is add some glue to the back. I'm going to place my antenna so that they're meeting at the center at a V, and I'm going to press this in place right there, and then I'll just turn him around and snip what we don't need. So there's the head, and all we need to do for the head now is to add the 2 little dots for the eyes with the Stampin' Right marker. Okay, now we're going to add the body. So we're going to bring these along. Whoops, I shouldn't have scooted them over that way. We're going to add glue with our 2-way glue pen. I'm going to do all 4 because this is actually glue that is repositionable, and you can use it when it's dry as well as when it's wet. So we'll glue the first one down, and don't worry if they're not straight. As you can see on this one, I have them at an angle a little bit. It just looks cool the way I had them on there. This one needs to go over here somewhere. I'll probably end up having to trim them only because I shouldn't have moved them. There's 3. And I'm just going to flip this over and trim it. But that's just a quick way of cutting your little stripes. Okay, so there's the body. Now we're going to add some glue just to the very top so I can glue the head in place. And as far as the wings, we are going to need to cut a little bit off, about 1/4 of an inch. Just blowing off the excess. And then what I did is I flipped him over and added the tear and tape, or whatever glue you have that's very rugged, because you're actually gluing something that has glitter on it, so you need something that's quite rugged. You know, my fingernails aren't long enough to peel this. Whoops, and I just knocked the head off. Okay, so now we're going to position the wings so that they're at an angle a little bit. Press this in place. And we now have our little bumblebee. Isn't he cute? And as you can see, the wings are quite glittery. And now let's do the only stamping that's needed for today's project, which is the sentiment. And that is from the All About Sugar stamp set. We're using their For You. And I've decided at the last minute here that I'm using different designer paper that has green in it. So I'm going to do the sentiment with the Mossy Meadow ink instead of the soft suede ink. So we'll bring in our scrap piece of Whisper White. Stamp the sentiment. And we'll use the washi label punch. And I glued that on the Bumblebee with stamping dimensionals. So I'll put 2 of those. And I did put that at an angle, so we'll put that like so. And now all we have left to do is the tags. And I am using the scallop tag topper punch. And I do write in here what I need for size. That way I don't have to measure each time. And when I cut my 2-inch section, I do a little sliver less than 2 inches, so it actually slides in there quite easily. So we're going to do all 3 of these that are pre-cut. Let's move this over. And what I did is I added a stamping dimensional, just one, when I overlapped my pieces, and make sure the hole lines up. I just thought the 3 colors looked neat. And again, make sure the hole lines up. And last but not least, we're going to glue the Bumblebee in place with stamping dimensionals. And yes, I love stamping dimensionals. I use a lot of these. And we're just going to put them on here at an angle. So now all we have left to do is to thread this tag through the ribbon and tie our bow. I really like this ribbon. It's really soft and it's easy to work with. So once you have that, the bow tied, you just need to fan out the bow part. And then what I would do is trim the ribbon at an angle. And tuck the ribbon behind the Bumblebee. And there you have it. So I used 2 different kinds, 2 different patterned papers to do the bag itself. You can use any designer paper. You can also do this with cardstock. Very easy, no glue needed. And this is what they look like on the inside. I hope you enjoyed my project for today, and I hope you'll come back and watch my next video. I'll have all the supplies listed at the end and a link to my online store. Have a good day.